Here she goes again. Hide your face, hide your neck, duck your head, wear an NFL football helmet when you are playing in a game versus DiJonai Carrington. Fresh off of clotheslining, a Kane and Undertaker clothesline from hell that she delivered to Sophie Cunningham, this girl is right back on the court, hitting people upside the head once again.
Hands up, swipe for the ball with our right hand, while poking the player in the eye with the left hand.
The eyeball. We're poking eyeballs out again. Is that what we're doing?
Here she goes again. After the controversy surrounding her flagrant 2 foul on Sophie Cunningham, DJ Carrington was back on the court just 4 days later, this time facing the Golden State Valkyries. And once again, her aggressive style became the center of attention. During the game, Carrington was involved in 2 separate incidents where her hands made contact with opposing players around the face. One sequence involved contact near Cecilia Zandolini's eye, while another caught Tiffany Hayes around the mouth. 2 different players, 2 different moments, but the same game. Naturally, those incidents reignited the debate surrounding Carrington's physical style of play. After everything that had happened just days earlier, fans were already watching her closely. And these new incidents only fueled questions about whether the previous controversy was an isolated situation or part of a broader pattern.
Tried to tell ya, I tried. This girl is not going to stop until she takes somebody out the league. This girl will not stop until she ends somebody's career. DiJonai Carrington, once again, with another dirty foul in less than a week, in just a couple of days apart from each other. A couple of days apart from the Sophie Cunningham hard foul. You have Mrs. Eye Poke, Mrs. Flagrant Foul, must grab your head, I'm gonna hit your head, upside your head, knock you out the air. Mrs. I'm gonna pull your hair. Mrs. I'm gonna whack you on the back of your head. Mrs. Long nailed, sharp knobbed fingertips. DiJonai Carrington strikes.
On the first play, Carrington was defending Zandolini on the perimeter. Her right hand appeared to be reaching toward the ball, but her left hand came up and made contact around Zandolini's eye while both of Carrington's arms were raised. Later in the same game, Tiffany Hayes attacked the basket for a layup, and Carrington jumped with her. Instead of making a clear play on the ball, her arm came down and made contact with Hayes around the mouth. Neither incident resulted in a flagrant foul or a technical for the contact itself. Carrington did, however, receive a technical foul earlier in the third quarter for arguing with an official, adding another layer to the increasingly heated atmosphere surrounding her performance that night. While neither of the 2 contacts was ruled a flagrant, the sequences immediately drew attention because they came only days after the controversial Cunningham incident.
After, that's DiJonai.
Yeah, I gouged another white girl. Yeah, I gouged another white girl while wearing your Sophie Cunningham wig. I am officially... Hey, this ain't Clerks 2, but I'm taking back Sophie Cunningham's hair. I'm taking it back. You got Sophie Cunningham's hair on while you're poking the white girls in the eyeball.
Now, here's where the situation becomes even more serious. This isn't a rookie still adjusting to the speed and physicality of the league. Carrington is an established veteran with years of professional experience, and there's already been a previous incident involving contact near Caitlin Clark's eye during the 2024 playoffs. At the time, Clark indicated that she did not believe the contact was intentional, while Carrington also rejected the idea that she would deliberately target someone's eye. That explanation gave people a reason to view the incident as an accident and move forward. But when similar contact happens again, especially in multiple physical sequences involving the face, fans naturally start asking more questions. One incident can be dismissed as accidental, and another might still be coincidence. But when several separate moments happen over time, the pattern becomes harder for viewers to ignore, even though intent cannot be established simply from the footage alone.
Go on to defend her, the story, the narrative that she's not a dirty player. She makes plays like this all the time. I put together a little clip of DiJonai Carrington, who is definitely one of the dirtiest players in the WNBA. I don't know if we can roll it, but she's taken her long fingernails. She's scratched Caitlin Clark's eyes out. She's had multiple instances of chasing people down from behind, trying the same swat and smashing them in the head and causing mini fights. She pulled another girl's hair. I don't know if we'll get to that clip in a second when she's falling. Totally dirty play. This is not a skin color thing. She has a history of making dirty plays, and it's fine. The NBA.
It's important to acknowledge just how talented Carrington is as a basketball player, because that's what makes the controversy so complicated for many fans. She has established herself as a strong defensive presence, has received recognition for her improvement, and possesses the length, athleticism, instincts, and anticipation needed to defend multiple positions. Nobody can seriously argue that she lacks legitimate ability on the court. The criticism is about whether that talent should overshadow concerns surrounding her physical play and repeated contact with opposing players. At this point, much of the conversation has shifted away from her basketball ability and toward questions about conduct, discipline, and player safety. The controversy became even more complicated after the flagrant 2 foul on Sophie Cunningham, followed by Carrington's social media post referencing white privilege after she was ejected. That combination of an intense on-court incident and a controversial online reaction turned what might have remained a basketball discussion into a much larger debate involving race, intent, accountability, and how players respond when emotions are running high.
From the flagrant 2 on DiJonai Carrington against Sophie Cunningham, where she proceeded to go into the locker room and tweet white privilege after being thrown out of the game. I'm not going to comment on that situation, but I will say this. This is a flagrant 2. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, don't matter. This is a flagrant. I mean, she clotheslined her. What more do you want? So this looks very bad. It just shows that the WNBA is nowhere near where they need to be professionally, because again, this is a clothesline. It's a flagrant.
And this is where the controversy gets complicated. 4 days earlier, Carrington had been ejected after her foul on Sophie Cunningham was upgraded to a flagrant 2 following review. Shortly afterward, Carrington posted white privilege and tagged the Indiana Fever, leading many fans to immediately connect the statement to the incident. But Carrington later pushed back on that interpretation, insisting she never said the foul itself was an example of white privilege and arguing that viewers had made that connection on their own. So there are really 2 separate questions here. What did Carrington actually intend when she made the post, and why did so many people interpret it as a reaction to the ejection? The timing certainly made the connection easy to understand, but without Carrington clearly explaining what she meant, her exact intention remains a matter of interpretation.
White privilege after getting tossed from the game, but says it wasn't about the foul. Can you explain this?
No, I can't. When she tweeted white privilege, she did it so quickly, it was almost as though she had the phone in her pocket after this foul and she got ejected. So, I mean, to say she wasn't referring to this play or getting kicked out and saying that the only reason she got kicked out and it got upgraded is because Sophie Cunningham is white is crazy. It was a crazy thing to tweet, maybe crazier than to try to act like it had nothing to do with the play. So I have no idea what she's talking about. I don't think anybody can have any idea what she's talking about.
What made the situation even more intense was what happened immediately afterward. Cunningham got back to her feet and moved toward Carrington, forcing teammates and officials from both sides to step in and separate them. When reporters later asked the officiating crew why Cunningham wasn't assessed a technical foul for her reaction, officials explained that her response was considered acceptable given the severity of the contact she had just taken. That detail became an important part of the discussion because it showed that officials viewed Cunningham's reaction in the context of what had happened moments earlier. It didn't necessarily mean the league was declaring Carrington's actions intentional, but it did reinforce how seriously officials viewed the initial contact and why Cunningham's emotional response was not punished in that moment.
When it comes to DiJonai Carrington, here she is on the floor being dirty once again. The girl cannot help herself at this point. She can't help it. Take a look at this. Okay, you swing at the ball, but then you hit her all in the face with your other hand, and then you put your hands up like you didn't do nothing. You hitting her all in the face. Look at this. Watch her left hand. The right hand right here went to the ball. Watch this left hand. Like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Enough. When is enough with this chick? Come on. Come on. You hitting people in the face. It's over and over and over. How many times do we have?
Now look at the timeline. Carrington scored 8 points in 4 minutes before being ejected in the first quarter, following the controversial foul on Cunningham. Just 4 days later, she was back on the court and involved in 2 more incidents involving contact around opposing players' faces. That sequence naturally raised questions about whether these were isolated moments or part of a broader pattern of overly physical play. At the same time, a tweet circulating online has intensified the conversation about Carrington's career path, claiming that multiple organizations have moved on from her in a relatively short period. Some of the details in that post may be exaggerated or presented for effect, so they shouldn't automatically be treated as fact. However, the broader transaction history is still worth examining. Carrington was drafted by Connecticut in 2021, later moved to Dallas in 2024, and subsequently became part of Minnesota before joining Chicago on a 1-year deal. Those changes have fueled speculation about how teams view her long-term fit, although roster moves can happen for many reasons and don't necessarily indicate that a team rejected a player because of her conduct. What remains undeniable is that Carrington's physical style and recent controversies have put her under an intense spotlight, and every new incident is now being examined through.
You know, DiJonai Carrington damn near decapitated Sophie Cunningham's head. And even though she bloodied Sophie Cunningham's mouth, and even though she got ejected and ran straight to Twitter after being assessed a flagrant 2, and putting white privilege in caps while tagging the Indiana Fever, we the public, we the fans of the WNBA, we the fans of Sophie Cunningham, and we the fans of good basketball, we're just stupid because we inferred that DiJonai Carrington tweeting white privilege, of course, had something to do with the flagrant 2 and the ejection. But DiJonai is coming out to set the record straight, baby. She said that we're stupid, we lack critical thinking skills, and in no way, shape, or form would she ever use the word of white.
When a player gets moved between teams, there can be many explanations. Sometimes it's about roster fit, sometimes it's part of a rebuild, and sometimes it's simply the business side of professional sports. But it would be a mistake to automatically assume that every transaction reflects concerns about a player's behavior or character. The same applies to a 1-year contract. A short-term deal can be a trial run, but it can also reflect salary cap considerations, roster flexibility, team strategy, or normal contract negotiations. What is undeniable is that Carrington's recent controversies have placed even more attention on her playing style and decision-making. Her white privilege post also shifted the conversation away from the original basketball question and toward a much broader debate about race, officiating, and intent. Then, less than a week later, 2 more incidents involving contact around opposing players' faces occurred in the same game, reigniting the discussion. If the WNBA wants its player safety standards and rules on dangerous contact to be taken seriously, these situations become an important test of consistency. The real question is whether similar incidents will be evaluated strictly according to the rules and evidence, regardless of the players involved, or whether enforcement will continue to become a major debate only after social media pressure takes over.
My favorite player.
Went over to one of the officials, as you see Sarah Williams there.
She trying to make it seem like a fan did something crazy to her, right? While I watch.
At the moment.
Look at what y'all looking at. They going to talk to that dude. They been trying to make him leave, right? She's trying to get somebody kicked out. So he getting up. He end up leaving, right? He end up leaving. So they got to investigate. They got to investigate. Now look at the fourth quarter. Look at who you see back sitting out there. He's sitting right there. That's him right there. And see, these are the type of games that they play when they in the wrong, right? And it's not a coincidence that this stuff is happening because she's been dirty forever, but Has she been getting people kicked out like that or attempting to get people kicked out like that? No. Now all of a sudden, now it's time to start kicking people out.
And fans have absolutely noticed. The conversation has moved beyond simply saying Carrington had a rough game. More people are now questioning whether her recent incidents represent a pattern of overly physical play. That criticism has become even louder because the controversy is no longer centered on one isolated incident from 2024. Within a short period, multiple opposing players have been involved in separate incidents involving contact around the face, giving fans plenty of reason to scrutinize every new play. The accountability question is where the situation becomes even more complicated. After the Cunningham foul, Carrington's white privilege post shifted much of the attention away from the original basketball issue. Whatever her intention was, the discussion about whether the contact was dangerous and whether similar incidents have happened before became secondary to the much larger debate over the meaning of her post. Now, after the Valkyries game produced two more controversial moments, both storylines are colliding at the same time. Carrington supporters can argue that the individual plays were accidental and that intent matters, while critics can point to the repeated incidents and demand greater accountability. Either way, the spotlight is no longer just on her talent as a defender. It's increasingly focused on how her physical style is being perceived and how she responds when controversy follows her onto the court.
Eyes. Bow. Went for the ball. I mean, like, where the... like, there's no... You hit the ball on that one, and right here, like, it's like, all right, I missed the ball, now I gotta smack you. Come on, guys. Like, and I know the community is gonna say she went for the ball. Yeah, I mean, I know her head might be shaped like a ball. We all, it's a similarity there. But there's no way DiJonai Carrington continuously gets away with this time after time after time. Like, the compilations, DiJonai is not good. It's not good. It's not good for you. It's absolutely not good for you. You're poking people in the eye, flagrant fouling people. Like, what are you doing? You swipe for the ball and then you smack the right in the eyes. Like, this is dirty as dirt.
There's also a fairness issue here that shouldn't be ignored because Carrington isn't the only person affected when these incidents happen. Cecilia Zandolini still has to finish the game and the season while dealing with the possibility of facing the same physical style again. Tiffany Hayes took contact around the face during a live play where the ball appeared to be nowhere near the point of contact. Sophie Cunningham was left shaken after the controversial foul, and teammates had to step in quickly to prevent the confrontation from escalating. These aren't simply numbers on a stat sheet. They're real athletes dealing with real physical contact while competing at the highest level. Carrington has every right to play aggressively and defend with intensity, but that aggression has to remain within the rules. And when multiple incidents involving contact to the face occur within such a short period, it's understandable that fans and players would demand closer scrutiny. The important question isn't whether Carrington is talented or whether every incident was intentional. It's whether the league can consistently protect player safety while allowing physical defenders to compete at their natural intensity.
More WNBA rules by being on her phone while being ejected. That is a widely spread rumor that started basically after the game and went into overnight. That she should be suspended because she was on her phone after being ejected, and then somebody shared this rule or a screenshot of WNBA rules. So I went to the rules myself. It's a 91-page document, and I've been searching every keyword and every possibility to try to find this rule that they're saying exists. That players aren't allowed to be on any electronic device or their phones 30 minutes before the game or 30 minutes, up to 30 minutes.
Then there's another part of the story that has created even more questions. Following the ejection, clips and social media claims began circulating, suggesting that Carrington had been using her phone while still in uniform during the game. If accurate, that could raise legitimate questions because the league has strict rules surrounding gambling, player conduct, and the use of technology around games. However, simply appearing to use a phone does not prove that a player was wagering or violating league policy. There would need to be evidence showing what the phone was being used for and whether any league rule was actually broken. That's why the situation should be handled through a proper review rather than speculation on social media. If the league investigates and finds nothing wrong, that should also be made clear. But if a violation did occur, fans have every reason to expect consistent enforcement. The bigger issue is transparency. A league that emphasizes the importance of gambling integrity has to apply its standards consistently and communicate clearly when legitimate concerns arise. Otherwise, every unanswered question becomes another reason for fans to believe that different standards are being applied to different players.
How many people are you just going to hit in the face? Let me freeze right there. It's like every single game you are hitting somebody else in the face. Every game you're hitting somebody in the face like this, and that wasn't even the worst. Take a look at this play right here. This girl's a menace in the league. I'm telling you, she's a menace. It's unsafe for people to be out there with her. It's unsafe. Let's go here. Now take a look at this. You got Tiffany Hayes driving to the rim. And watch, here goes DiJonai Carrington right here. Here goes DiJonai Carrington. Watch her. You're nowhere near the ball, dude. You are nowhere near the fucking ball. Like, stop.
And that's really the heart of why this story has grown far beyond another rough night on the box score. This isn't simply one controversial foul that disappears from the headlines after a few days. Carrington has now been involved in multiple incidents involving contact around opponents' faces over a relatively short period, involving different players and different situations. Each individual play can be debated on its own, and intent cannot be determined simply by watching a replay. But when similar incidents continue to appear, the conversation naturally shifts from one isolated mistake to whether there is a broader pattern in the way she plays defense. At some point, intent cannot be the only question being asked. Consistency, technique, discipline, and player safety matter too. Carrington's defensive ability is undeniable, but repeated controversy can overshadow that talent if the public conversation constantly focuses on dangerous-looking contact rather than defensive stops, steals, and strong performances. That's where the real reputational problem begins. When a player becomes better known for controversial incidents than for their actual production on the court, that perception can follow them into every future game. And in a growing professional league where players, teams, sponsors, and fans are all under greater scrutiny, reputational issues can quickly become much bigger than a single play.
Admit this chick is intentionally targeting the face. Here's Mick. I don't even know how you do this intentionally. The ball is behind her, and she went for the ball with her right hand while clawing her in the face with her left hand. Yeah. White girls are only 15% of the WNBA, but seem disproportionately targeted by DiJonai, the condiment made by mixing mayonnaise and Dijon mustard. Fair enough. Another dirty play by DiJonai. I wonder, is this white privilege as well? Does this qualify as white privilege? Ooh, this is more like DiJonai.
Think about this from a business perspective for a moment, because the situation extends far beyond one player's reputation. The WNBA has spent the past several seasons benefiting from a massive increase in attention, stronger broadcast exposure, and growing commercial interest. With that growth comes greater scrutiny, and every controversial moment can quickly become a national story, whether it's a dangerous-looking foul, a social media post that sparks a wider debate, or an unverified claim involving phone use and gambling rules. The longer questions remain unanswered, the more pressure can fall on the organization involved. In this case, that means Chicago has an additional responsibility because Carrington is wearing its jersey every time these incidents occur. Eventually, a front office has to evaluate the balance between a player's on-court production and the recurring controversy surrounding them. If similar incidents continue throughout the season and the questions keep piling up before her one-year contract expires, Chicago could eventually face a difficult decision about whether keeping Carrington is worth the ongoing scrutiny and attention.